Hey guys, it's October. Everybody's getting their pumpkins out and stuff and whatnot, and I just wanted to come at you, probably thinking, why is she about to talk to me about C4C? Because it's October. I know. C4C really means Champions for Christ. It's not an event. It's a lifestyle. It's not just something we do. It's not something we just look forward to. It's who we are. We are champions for Christ. And instead of living for that moment, we need to live in it each and every day. With that said, though, I just want to give some heads up for next year. And for everyday life, really. We need people to go, obviously. The students like to go, but we're welcoming everybody to go. Adults are welcome to come this year. Y'all don't have to be a part of us. And also welcoming people who maybe have a heart to be what we call a leader. A leader is not just someone who is leading for that week and is just being an example for that week, because I'm all about leading by example, right? So I'm going to be writing as we go here. Leaders. Be praying about this. Don't just write it off and say, oh, I don't have time to do this. I don't have the money to do this. Because I guarantee you, Tara and Al can tell you it is worth your time if that is what God has called you to do and is leading you to do. There are some qualifications of being a leader, and I just want to, that's why I'm doing this so early, so you can check yourself before you wreck yourself, basically. Because it's not about being a leader through that week. It's about being someone those kids can look up to and realize, hey, that's what a champion for Christ looks like. What does a champion for Christ look like? Number one, they love Christ. Whoa, I know, revelation, right? They love Christ. And so if you love Christ, you're seeking Him, you're following Him, your eyes are on Him, and you are becoming more like Him. What does more like Him look like, though? Because we want to make sure that we are becoming more like Him. And that's a hearer and a doer of the Word of God. So if your lifestyle is not reflecting Christ on an everyday basis in the public, social media way, yeah, we look at that. Kids look at that and say, oh, it's okay to follow the group called F this, or I hate myself, or I hate life group. No, that's not Christ. And I say that because I love you guys, and sometimes we can be so deceived by the world and try to be like the world, but that's not a champion for Christ. A champion for Christ is somebody who overcomes the world. Anyway, so we love Christ. We are not just hearers of the Word of God, we are doers and hearers of the Word of God. I just put hearers of Word. I'm just going to do it like that. And there's some specific things that we as a church have convictions about. Not everybody has a conviction about drinking and cursing and the use of tobacco, but as a leader, we really want somebody that can set the standard high, because as a leader, you are leading by example. These kids are watching you, and if you do it, they think it's okay for them to do too. So it's not a do as I say, not as I do. It is they're looking at you and they're going to do as you do. So we ask you not to drink. We ask you not to curse or chew tobacco or smoke or whatever. If you're dealing with these issues, there's no condemnation. It's just we want you to be in a place where you can have no distractions. You're not in the world. You're totally focused on Christ. And if you're doing those things, that doesn't mean you're not focused on Christ. It's just, we're all at different places and God is dealing with us, perfecting us. So we just ask that you don't drink, you don't curse. And if for some reason you slip up, you are so, remorseful for that action, or whatever, if it is on public or whatever, or if somebody calls you out, you are okay with taking that confrontation. Somebody calls you out and say, hey, why are you posting that? That's not okay. Anyways, yeah, so the last thing is, let me write this other one down We ask you not to drink, curse, tobacco. Again, it's just an example for the kids. We're not saying that these things are sins. But we know that those are not wise things and are not Christ-centered things, and they don't push us forward to Christ. So anyways, there's that. And the last thing, and not least, is faithful attender of church. I just posted a meme not long ago that it said, you don't have to go to church to go to heaven. And then the lady responded, yeah, you don't have to wear a parachute to jump out of a plane either, but it certainly does help. So we want to make sure you have your parachute on. and it's important. I see so many times in my life, as my parents been in the ministry, when people leave the church, and I'm not talking about Rivers of Life, I'm just talking about the church in general, but that too sometimes, but just stop attending faithfully. Their lives just get off the railroad tracks, and they're headed toward a collision, and the messes happen and stuff. It's because God's not center, and in church and your church family helps you to stay encouraged, helps you to keep your eyes on Christ, because let's be real, this world we're living in is constantly distracting us, constantly trying to take our attention away from Christ, and that's what the church and our church family is about, and the devil will try to steal from that any way, every way he can. If your car breaks down, call somebody. We will be happy to get you to church. Anyways, so we ask you to be a faithful attender to church. Some of you guys I know have family or things that they're not around here, and so sometimes you have to leave on the weekends. So what does that look like logistically? And this is really stretching it, but we would love, you have to be here at least 50% of the time. That's really gracious. 50%, that's kind of ridiculous. Ideally, we would love to see you here 95% of the time, if not 100, okay? But we're gracious in that area right now. We need you to be there, because these kids are looking up to you, and they're going to think, oh, that's the way they're living their life? Well, I can live my life that way too. So, leaders, you got to love Christ. Be doers and hearers of the word. Don't drink, curse, tobacco, etc. Social media stuff, blah, blah. Faithful attenders to church.